What is up, NPL fans? Vepsis here, and I'm bringing you guys the Week 7 pick'em show for the minors of the National Pokemon League. This show we are gonna be going through all the matchups we are gonna be seeing upcoming this week for the NPL minors and decide that who we think are going to win those games. And I will be joined by Horus, who will be co-hosting with me these pick'em crews for the rest of the season for the NPL minors.
Yeah, hey guys, what's going on? Horus here. First of all, I'd like to apologize for the last 2 weeks. Vepsis did record his Week 5 pick'ems by himself because I was really busy that week. And then we did record Week 6 together, but unfortunately because of graphical issues and stuff, we weren't able to actually publish those videos. But definitely for the rest of the season, we're gonna just be upping our graphics game and stuff like that, and we'll make sure that everything's basically just uploaded for the rest of the season. And so we generally just at the start like to apologize for that. But after saying that, we can move on to the first matchup. So the matchup that I'm covering is Lord Zedin versus Carney Hobo, which is the first match. Lord Zedin versus Carney Hobo, Tulsa versus Vancouver. So when we look at, first of all, who picked the matchup, everyone picked Tulsa except Hallu. Hallu picked Vancouver. I think this is mostly because just looking at the consistency of each coach. Because if we look at how Zedin's been performing, he has a really solid record right now. He's gone against some big coaches and either had small losses against them or won against them. Well, Carney, I believe he has 2 wins right now. The first one was in his Week 1 game, which was pretty good. That was against Todd Envy, who's again one of our bottom coaches. And then his other win was against Turbo, where he literally got the last turn hacks against him last week. So there's really been no consistency from Carney, and I don't know if I have enough trust to really put him there. Also, I think a big thing is that Landorus is a really, really strong matchup here. I don't see what on Carney's team it could stop Lando if he can get a rock polish and a sword stance up. And I guess it's most teams, but I think especially with Zed being able to, I think he'll be able to just find a way to break through Carney and be able to set up on him. And if Lando sets up, I think it's just GG right there. And I can easily see this being a 6-0 win for Zed if he's able to set up with Lando early and just win the game.
Yeah, I agree, and that's basically why I felt comfortable locking Lord Zedin this week for match of the week for me, or by locking it. I just like the offensive matchup what he has, and Mega Scissor matches up really well versus him as well, providing momentum, and V-Valk and revenge kill a lot of Carney Hobo's offense. So I do agree with that, and like Horus already said, majority of us do see Lord Zedin to win this one. And then in the second matchup we have the Carolina Pantherians coached by Techno, and he's going up against the Leinster Larias coached by Ian. Both of these coaches have done quite well so far in this season, Techno only having 1 loss under his belt so far going into Week 7, and Ian has only 2 as well, so we could expect a very good matchup out of this one based on that. And I went with Techno winning this matchup, much like how most of the analysts and you fans did as well. More so how well he has performed so far in this season, and that has really convinced me to believe that even if this matchup provides to be a little bit difficult for him to play around versus Ian, especially around the Mega Diancie, which provides a lot of pressure to him to switch into, I think Techno will find ways to eventually beat it down, and something like Greninja I can see playing a huge role in that way, not only checking Mega Diancie offensively, but some other mods like Victini and Hoopayu with one of its stabs, or just providing U-turn or forcing Hoopayu out, and most likely forcing something like Alamomola or Tangrowth come in and makes some good uses out of that. So even though I feel like matchup wise Ian has a decent matchup versus Techno, I still believe in the end, based on how Techno has played and still seeing enough resources to win, that I felt comfortable by winning Techno. So that's basically what I have to cover with this Week 2 matchup. If Horus you have anything to add, you can add now. And
I think everything you said is right. That's the general reason I picked Techno too. I mean, Techno's just been on a solid run.
Yeah.
So with that, I can move on to the next match, which is Mio versus Tone. So I think to start off, both of these teams had very questionable seasons in the slightest. And on matchup, I think the biggest threat they're really seeing is like Mammoth Swine, because Mio really doesn't have that many ways to like deal with the Mammoth Swine if you actually look at his team. And Mio's like his big threats that could win consist of like Rabombi and Keldeo, but both of those mobs are easily shut down by things like Arcanine, Primarina, and Mew. So generally by matchup, it looks like Tone would take the game, but I just feel like I've trusted Mio in this matchup, because even though Mio has been slipping this whole season, I feel like recently we're starting to see some small signs of the Mio that he was last season. I just really don't see, because really these are two bottom tier coaches going against each other, and I don't see Mio taking a loss to a bottom tier coach. And I think Mio's just going to be able to kind of bounce back from that. And then the one big thing that's going on Mio's side here, and I think really the only like truly matchup-wise thing that's on his side, is Mega Mawile. I think this is finally a game where Mega Mawile can actually put tons of work in. Because if you look at his team, Tone's team, once Arcanine is gone, nothing stops a Mega Mawile sweep. Like, if he can just get rid of Arcanine and potentially get rid of Mammoth Swine, then Mawile really just has free reign here. So, yeah, I think if Mio wins this game, it's going to be through Mawile, and even though the matchup looks like it's on Tone's side, I'm still going to give it to Mio, because I just don't see Mio losing to a bottom tier coach.
Yeah, that's fair. I just went with Tone in this one, basically looking the matchup itself, but I can see where you're coming from with the comparing the coach's skill level in that sense. But for me, in the fourth matchup, what we are gonna be having this week, we have the Toronto Lux Race, coached by Turkey, who is going up against the Olympic Flygon, coached by Keegan. And Turkey is going into this matchup only suffering one loss this season, and there's therefore sitting at the top of half of the Dust Conference, whereas Kiga is sitting more so of the bottom half of the standings in the other conference, being the Dream Conference, making this matchup standing wise a little bit lofty. Matchup in Turkey's favor based on how well they have been performing so far this season, and this also shows the amount of votes Turkey got by winning this week by us analysts and also you fans from the Discord server. And because of that, I felt comfortable picking Turkey in this matchup, more so basically because I'm most familiar with the coach and the level what he can be by facing him before. And even though this is another matchup where I can see the coaches who I cover, who I favor to win, having a little bit of struggle matchup wise, things like Bandidente, Saigar 50%, Mega Medicham and Gengar all combined can provide a lot of pressure from Keegan's end to Turkey's roster. I still believe that if Turkey is able to come into the matchup, provide a aggressive team of his own to check Keegan's offense and have enough speed control and enough priority control of his own to deal with Keegan's offense, he can win it. But really it will come down to the momentum, speed and priority options which both of these coaches do possess, that which one can utilize the best out of in the game. And I expect it to be an offensive game, and really the pace of the game in the beginning will determine the winner in my eyes, most likely to win this game, and which gives Keegan opening for a spoiler this week, even though he is not the favorite based on the picks alone to win this matchup. So that's basically what I have to say about the week 4 matchup, and yet again I just hand it over to Horus if you want to add anything, or do we just move on to the 5th matchup which you have?
I don't think I have anything to add. I think you covered everything. So I can move on to the next matchup, which is Turbo versus Illusion. So this was actually my lock here, which might seem a little bit weird because these are both like high tier players. Because even though Illusion, I think he's like 3-3 right now, so he hasn't had the most solid season. One of those losses was simply just like completely due to hacks, and you can say the same thing for Turbo. So both of them are solid players, I'll say that. But Turbo did lose last week, and from watching his video, he kind of talked about how like he can't lose at this point. He can't risk Owen catching up with him, and I just think Turbo is going to kick it in for the rest of the season and just go all out. Like, I think Turbo has the skills to make majors, and losing to Carney because of hacks I think really taught him that he needs to be able to grab a W in this match versus Illusion. I really think Turbo has the skills to be able to take this. Also adding upon that, like, almost all of Illusion's team is kind of just Slurpuff food. Like, I don't see what Illusion can really do to stop a Slurpuff sweep. Because, like, he is Empoleon, yes, and I think, like, Empoleon's really the only, like, great thing there. But once Empoleon's gone, he's kind of just done. And Turbo, basically every other mod in his team, just defeats Empoleon. And Nihilego also has a pretty good matchup here. I think the matchup is heavily in Turbo's favor, and I think player skill is also heavily in Turbo's favor.
Yeah, I do agree on that. Like Slurpuff after Belly Drum, it does have access to something like Dream Punch, so even Empoleon barring something like a Chopo Berry and heavily...
Yeah, you're right.
It's not gonna really take, so only thing would be something like a slow pro with Thunder Wave at full health.
But he does have, like, Return also, which will be doing a large chunk to Slurpuff.
Yeah.
I mean, to Slowbro.
Yeah. So, in the end, it really would come down to that how he's able to reserve his resources to deal with that thing, for example. But I do agree with your thoughts on there, and I will be moving on to the sixth match of what we are gonna be having this week, which is between the Boston Boulders, coached by Hiker Toad, who is going up against the Connectic Cobalions, coached by II. And Hiker Toad is right up there in the upper hand of the standings in the Dust Conference, just like Turkey was in the last one which I covered, whereas II is more so of the middle pack of the Dream Conference, which is the other half of the league. And Hiker Toad has only 2 losses so far in this season going into week 7, whereas II has 3, so basically he has a very even record of 3-3. And based on that, both of these coaches, you could say that they really need this win for their own chances of playoff race of putting themselves back into the race or keep their position for the playoff race itself. And therefore I would expect a lot of effort from both ends to win this match. And I went with II this week, which was somewhere a surprise to myself as well, that I picked him because I have been a big fan of Hiker Toad's team and how he likes to play in general. But I felt like in II's favor, the matchup advantage could help him win over Hiker Toad this week, mainly because I can see something like a very bulky Manaphy with setup under Rain Dance and rest can really provide a big nuisance for Hiker Toad to break down. And things like Dugtrio can really revenge main of the Hiker Toad's offense, being Nidoqueen, Terrakion and Mega Charizard X. And C Latios potentially can really break apart Hiker Toad's bulk, what he possesses, being able to outspeed them and really nuke them quite well with its dual stab and coverage. Then in the end, things like Mega Aerodactyl and Rotom Heat I can really see playing a big role, helping dealing with things like Celestia and Mega Charizard X combined. So in the end, this was one of the matches where I personally went with the coach who had least votes to win this matchup, but it was more so based on the matchup itself why I felt comfortable of doing this, going this way. But most analysts outside of me and the fans yourself did pick Hiker Toad to win this one. And knowing that how good of a team and how good of a player Hiker Toad possesses and is himself, I can definitely see why a lot of people picked him to win this week as well. And I'm not counting him out by any means to win this matchup at all, and it can definitely happen, but I really wanted to emphasize the matchup advantage for II's perspective, and that being my reason to pick him this week. But that's all what I have to say about the matchup what I covered. So Horus, you can take the last matchup which you're gonna be covering, and we can start wrapping up.
Okay, yeah, so also just talking about like the Boston versus Connecticut thing quickly. Yeah. We did pick the underdog here, both of us did, and I really like your analysis of it. That makes total sense, but I also have the idea, like, as I said last week, which didn't get uploaded, so I'll say it again here. I think, is probably the best player in this season of minors. and he's been hacked a lot, and I'm finally seeing him getting back to a pretty good record of 3-3, and I think at this point he's not gonna. I just don't think he'll really take an L for the rest of the season. I think he knows that he probably has to go 7-3 or 6-4, something like that, to get into playoffs.
Yeah.
And I think Aya's gonna be able to do it, because even though he should be 5-1 right now, because his only legitimate loss was to Illusion in the first week.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's. I just think Aya probably has the matchup here, and probably has the battler skill. But I do understand why other people picked Hiker. But moving on to the final matchup that I'm going to be dissecting, we have Uzi and the Bullet Clubs Club versus Virginia Tech and Jake. So, starting off, Uzi does look like he has the matchup here. Like, Thunderous and Kieran Black both dent huge holes into Jake's team. So if I was looking at this game purely off matchup, I would definitely give it to Uzi. But here's the thing. Uzi's on a huge downward spiral this whole season. Especially losing to Cloud last week kind of put the nail in his coffin. Because if he was able to beat Cloud last week, I think he would maybe start getting because I think the most important thing at this point in the season near the end is momentum. If you're getting a lot of wins recently, those wins are going to carry you on. Or if you keep on getting a lot of losses, you're going to lose your you're going to lose your want to battle, and then you won't play as well anymore. And Uzi giving the first win to a winless team last week, I think is really going to cut his confidence maybe. And I don't know if he's going to be able to capitalize on that matchup that he has here. Also, this game is if this game comes down to matchup, Uzi will win. But if this game comes down to player skills, Jake will win. And I think this game's going to come down to player skills. I don't think the matchup's going to be enough to just still give Uzi the win here. But if Uzi does win, it's going to be because the matchup is heavily in Uzi's favor. Because not many things in the game take a hit from Kieran Blackwell, but especially on Jake's team, I don't see much for it.
Yeah, that's fair to say, and that it's funny that the final matchup which I'm gonna be covering, I do actually cover Clown Envy, who did handle his first win from last week by winning Uzi Gunner, and Cloud Envy is actually going up against the Indiana Keldios coached by John W. And like it was mentioned, Clown Envy did win last week, and this happened to be his first win of the season, whereas John W. suffered a 0-5 loss to Eon, which really put himself back more so middle pack of the standings, where he's sitting at 3-3, and similar what was brought out in the Horus, and I do believe myself that the momentum is a big factor in this point of the season, that how you can expect coaches to really perform and what kind of results we are going to be getting. And we could definitely see Cloud Envy starting to not only having his first win from last week, but he can also now put this for his first win streak going to this season and kind of prove himself why he has been a part of the NPL before in the past. I believe you mentioned last week, which didn't get uploaded, that he was also part of the major, so he really could want to really perform well and showcase why he has been part of here in the past as well, and show that he can still battle with the best of what the minors can offer. And John W. has been considered going into this season to be one of the better coaches, but he has suffered a big loss last week, and even though I believe myself that Clown Envy can win this matchup, there are still people who can see John W winning this matchup. By a couple of the analysts and also the fans as well do believe John W's case to win this matchup. And the matchup itself, I believe Clown Envy has a little bit more of an advantage because he has better speed control by his Mega Evolution of Mega Lopunny, and Tapu Bulu and Larias combined can really weaken each other's counters and Mega Lopunny counters as well, to the point that John W's resources to pivot around those things can in the end get whittled down quite quickly, because they lack reliable recovery, which I do see being the biggest defensive answers for those things, being Suicune and Metacross for example. And Therefore, I feel like John W's only way to win this matchup is by utilizing his Voltune Corps led by Tornado Therian to keep up the offensive pressure for himself, because if this battle starts and at wrong foot, then he's defensive end of the things. I don't see himself able to pull back from it too well, because I don't see on his roster the resources to keep up the health for his own good to really stand out for too long in the battle itself. And that's basically what I really have to say about the matchup. I really feel like Cloud Envy just, if he's able to come into the game, put John W in the back foot, it can be very hard for John W to come out from that vortex, and he might suffer a second loss this week. Second loss in a row, what I should say. But that's basically it for this Pick'em crew for this week. Thank you guys for watching, and if you guys enjoyed this video and this analysis both from me and Horus, please make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the National Pokemon YouTube channel.
Also, we're going to leave the link for the NPL Discord in the description. Make sure to go check it out, because that's how you fans can really be involved here and be involved in voting for Pick'ems, which is going to be really fun for the rest of the season. We're seeing that you guys have some interesting picks here. Like, surprisingly, almost all of the analysts picked Cloud here, which was really unexpected, but you guys ended up picking John W. So it's really fun to see what you guys end up picking here.
Yeah, and these battles will be going up tomorrow and Thursday for the minors, and keep an eye out for the NPL majors as well, which battles will be going up at Saturday as well as the usual. And make sure yet again to subscribe to here, because Regulator has really put up a lot of work to make sure that all the content, not from just from the analyst point of things, like the weekend crews and the power rankings, but also the battles itself are easy accessible for you guys to see. So all the content what we can provide you guys are here to see and for you guys to be able to enjoy. So make sure that you are updated, all including National Pokemon League. But that's all from me and from Horus. Until next week, we will be see you guys later.